Ladies and gentlemen, Simon Feck here, ladies and gentlemen. Ha ha! Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm starting to sound like Sean Strickland. Alright, guys, Yeah. Alright. This is for you guys. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, Simon Feck here, 1 foot cock, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if it's just me or where has John Anik gone, ladies and gentlemen? Where has John Anik gone, ladies and gentlemen? Ever since this one right here wore suspenders, ladies and gentlemen. Ever since this one wore suspenders, John Anik has been scarce, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Toyo Tires. That's right. This one right here wore suspenders, and basically you haven't seen John Anik since, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Now, we all know that Dana White hires bald people. Here's Dana White right here, ladies and gentlemen. We all know that Dana White only hires bald people, ladies and gentlemen. All the guys in the UFC are bald, ladies and gentlemen. You look around. I walk around in the Apex. I look around, and everybody is bald, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. And Dana White only hires attractive girls with microphones, ladies and gentlemen. Dana White only hires bald people, and Dana White only hires attractive girls with microphones. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. But this one right here, Laura Sanko, ladies and gentlemen, I can't say Laura Sanko's hot, ladies and gentlemen, anymore, right? I've had a couple videos taken down, ladies and gentlemen. Just like Bryce Mitchell, I don't talk about Bryce Mitchell anymore, ladies and gentlemen. Got a couple of videos taken down if you mention Bryce Mitchell's name, ladies and gentlemen. Bryce Mitchell got butt hurt, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. I'm not sure if Laura Sanko got butt hurt, ladies and gentlemen. I'm thinking it might be AI that got butt hurt and not Laura Sanko who got butt hurt, ladies and gentlemen. But as you look at this right here, this picture right here, the beginning of the video, this is at 0.00. This is the first picture of her video, ladies and gentlemen. Right here has the mouth wide open. You see that? Okay, and then Simon Feck's videos get taken down, ladies and gentlemen. And then you have blonde hair, and you have these huge, thick brown things up here called, help me out, what are they called? Eyebrows. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Brown eyebrows painted on, thick, like her dad, who used to paint the Empire State Building, and it's 432,000 gallons to paint the Empire State Building, ladies and gentlemen. Takes a lot of paint. Anyways, these things are painted on right here. You got the Rockies hat. Now, why would somebody be wearing a Rockies hat for a UFC promotion, ladies and gentlemen? Why would you single everybody out? Like, maybe somebody's a St. Louis Cardinal fan. Who's the St. Louis Cardinals? You know. Anyways, right here, got the mouth open. Very first picture here. Now, you see no suspenders, ladies and gentlemen. Because right here at her house, she has nobody's job to take over, ladies and gentlemen. You don't see John Anik anymore, ladies and gentlemen. And this guy right over here, Dean Thomas. Dean Thomas is going to go around and tell people, in this video right here, he's going to tell people that he's a thug. So look at Dean Thomas. That's a thug. I mean, I guess I got to look up the definition of what a thug is, ladies and gentlemen. But anyways, Dean Thomas is a good friend of Simon Feck, 1 foot cock, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. All right. So we're not talking about Laura Sanko anymore. This is Laura Sanko, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. And she's going to be doing a prediction video of the Chimaev versus Strickland. The great American hope, ladies and gentlemen. And let's see if they know what they're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Because this one right here is going around taking over everybody's job, ladies and gentlemen. Like if a media person says something about a fighter, they haven't fought, so therefore they don't know what they're talking about, right? This one right here happens to be 1-0 in MMA. So she is classified as a fighter with one fight, ladies and gentlemen. Also, this one right here is media, ladies and gentlemen. This one right here also is a content creator, ladies and gentlemen. This one right here also has not become a man, but she wears suspenders. She's taken over men's jobs, ladies and gentlemen. Now, why does Simon Feck say that she's taken over men's jobs? You don't see John Anik anymore. I'm not talking about taking over men's jobs in general, ladies and gentlemen. This one right here is wearing suspenders, ladies and gentlemen. What's next, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, let's get into it. Let's check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Here it is. Dean Thomas and Laura Sanko, ladies and gentlemen. And by the way, Nina Drama is the greatest. Nina Drama is the hottest and the greatest content creator that the UFC has seen, ladies and gentlemen. Not Laura Sanko anymore, ladies and gentlemen.
What's up, everybody? Laura Sanko here. As always, I'm joined by Dean Thomas, who's big time in it now. Real big, big. Wait, I gotta make sure. I gotta make this small so I can see it.
She's gonna make it small so she can see it, ladies and gentlemen. If you notice, nothing ever changes. Nothing ever gets smaller. I mean, I don't know what she's talking about here. But also, look at this guy right here. Dean Thomas right here. He's smiling, ladies and gentlemen. She is coming for that job right there with them four guys right there. Look at that. That's determination there. Here's a guy that doesn't know what's coming, ladies and gentlemen. She's going to throw on another pair of suspenders, ladies and gentlemen, and she's going to be in that picture right there where Dean Thomas is, ladies and gentlemen. Woo!
I'm showing everybody. Oh, he on Paramount Plus.
Paramount Plus. I am. Listen, the only thing I will say is I am a handsome fellow.
You are a handsome fellow.
I give myself that. But I'm still a goon. I'm still a thug.
Dean Thomas just said he's a thug, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this guy right here, and a goon. This guy right here, Dean Thomas, right next to me. This guy right here just said that he's a thug. Now look at that. If you see this walking towards you on the sidewalk, would you be scared, ladies and gentlemen? I mean, look at him. That's a thug, a gooner. I mean, he just admitted that he's a gooner, but a thug? I mean, that's a far stretch, ladies and gentlemen. I understand he can fight and everything, too, like that. It's not what I'm talking about. He said he's a thug, ladies and gentlemen. And right there, you see Dean Thomas, right there. That's who's going to get your job next right there. I'm telling you right now, she's going to be right there where you're at. Is that you? No, right there, ladies and gentlemen.
Look at that group. Look at that group, though. Like,
look at that group. And pretty soon she's going to be in there, ladies and gentlemen. In Dean's spot.
I love it. Deep Waters, Mondays, Paramount Plus, as well as YouTube, guys. Check it out. So I'm glad that we get to keep your mind on this on our show as well. So thank you.
No, I got you. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, I'm not going to not be with you for nothing.
Oh,
I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm not going to not be with you for nothing.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, Simon Feck at one point thought he would not be with Laura Sanko either, ladies and gentlemen. But, I mean, you know, when you get your videos taken down, ladies and gentlemen, you know, it's one thing, right? You know, it could be AI or actually Laura Sanko got butt hurt. I'm not really sure which one it is. I don't know. Maybe she could clarify it there.
There's a double negative in there, so I'm not sure what that means, but it seems really sweet.
Trust me, it came from the heart.
Oh, it came from the heart, all right, ladies and gentlemen. It came from Simon Feck's heart, like deep down in, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I'm not really sure, again, about the videos that I got taken down. I mean, Bryce Mitchell, you can understand with him, he got butt hurt, but okay. So far, there's only 2 people that I can't talk about on the Simon Feck show, and one of them happens to be Bryce Mitchell, who thinks the earth is flat. And then this one here, right here, who happens to wear suspenders. Now, why can't she wear suspenders? Because she takes John Anik's job when she does that. She needs to be aware that she's just grabbing and taking down jobs here and there, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, thank you. Well, guys, we have, oh my gosh, what a fight do we have to talk about this time. This is one I think that unanimously everyone is pretty excited for. And of course, we're talking about the main event, UFC 328, going down in Newark, New Jersey. Number 3 ranked middleweight versus the champ, Khamzat Chimaev.
One time back in the day, ladies and gentlemen, Simon Feck took on the New Jersey Devil, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, it was me, a big black crow up on somebody's rooftop. It was snowing out, ladies and gentlemen. All the leaves had fallen, and it was really thick, and there's a lot of snow on top of these people's roof. And me and the New Jersey Devil were up there at the peak of the roof, ladies and gentlemen, and we were walking towards each other, ladies and gentlemen, and then next thing you knew, popped up out of the chimney, ladies and gentlemen, was Laura Sanko, ladies and gentlemen, wearing suspenders, and we all fucking ran and shit, because we're like, she's coming to take our job, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, ask John Anik, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here from Simon Feck, 1 foot cock. You know something? You know what else you're hearing here? Okay, nobody's talking about it. Simon Feck talks about it, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, DDP. He got married more than a month ago, ladies and gentlemen. Drickus Duplessis got married more than a month ago, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody's talking about it. Simon Feck's talking about it. You get the breaking news right here, ladies and gentlemen. That's right.
For the middleweight title, and this one is gonna be crazy. Dean, first of all, I always go to you with the big giant thoughts first.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. She said it right there. You heard exactly what she said. She goes to Dean Thomas for the big thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. That's right.
Okay, when this fight was announced, both these guys are coming off like insanely dominant wins, right? Chimaev absolutely mollywopped DDP, and Sean, not that long ago, had a master class against Fluffy Hernandez. But should this have been Nasruddin Imavov, or is this the right fight? Are we where we should be?
No, this is the right fight.
I agree.
This is the right fight for sure, and I understand where these guys are coming from. They're like, "Oh, I did this, I did that, I deserve a title shot." Listen, no one deserves anything. Like, you get what you get, and if you deserved it, they would have given it to you. So you clearly didn't deserve it because you are not in control over what you feel like you deserve.
Okay, what did he just say there, ladies and gentlemen? Dean Thomas, this guy right here talks for a living, right? This guy talks for a living. He just said that nobody deserves, and then you didn't get the fight because you didn't deserve it. And then, what did he say? I mean, what? Let's listen to that again. You got to be kidding me, man.
You get what you get, and if you deserve it, sure. And I understand where these guys are coming from. They're like, "Oh, I did this, I did that, I deserve a title shot." Listen, no one deserves anything. Like, you get what you get, and if you deserved it, they would have given it to you. So you clearly didn't deserve it because you are not in control over what you feel like you deserve.
Now, this guy right here, he's the one that is giving you information, in the UFC. And if you're supposed to follow that, well, maybe you're not supposed to follow it. Because, I mean, did you hear what he just said? Nobody deserves any fight, but you didn't get the fight because you didn't deserve it. And then you only get what you deserve.
This is the right fight for sure, and I understand where these guys are coming from. They're like, "Oh, I did this, I did that, I deserve a title shot." Listen, no one deserves anything. Like, you get what you get, And if you deserved it, they would have given it to you. So you clearly didn't deserve it because you are not in control over what you feel like you deserve. Now, if I'm Imavov, I would have probably taken another fight because you need to stay relevant. And that's the thing. Like, you can't hold on to your wins. Sometimes it works out when there's no one else, but the fact that there was someone else in Sean Strickland, this is the right fight to make. So Imavov can't be upset about the fact that he got passed up for this. His win just was, I mean, he beat Kyle Bahayo, and that was in Paris last September.
Yeah.
And listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. I know I'm Simon Feck, 1 foot cock. Sean Strickland is the biggest, the most popular UFC fighter there is. Now, how do I know that? And then you're going to question me. Oh, somebody else has got so much social media and all this stuff. Listen, I go to the UFC X's. I go to places where there's a bunch of fighters together, all right? And like, say, the UFC X, ladies and gentlemen. If you see a mob of 100 people moving through the UFC X, you could bet that it's Sean Strickland. If you see a group of like maybe 6 people, you could probably think it's somebody else that's a fighter. Nobody draws people like Sean Strickland. The UFC doesn't want to let you know that Sean Strickland is the biggest star, the biggest draw in the UFC, ladies and gentlemen. Simon Feck knows this. Besides being, a Strickland fan, let's say, I like guys that, I don't know, kind of keep the... All right, never mind.
That's a long time ago. We forgot about that. So you got to understand that when they're making these matchups, they're looking for the most exciting matchup that's going to fill up the arena. Sean Strickland is going to fill up the arena, not only because he's Sean Strickland, but because of that performance he put on against Fluffy.
And because Sean Strickland, hands down, is the most popular fighter there is. You hate him, you love him, I don't care what it is, but Sean Strickland is the most popular fighter. And again, the UFC doesn't want you to know that. They don't let you know that. They don't let you know who's the most popular. Well, it happens to be Sean Strickland. And I know this firsthand, ladies and gentlemen.
100%. If that performance had not been what it was, I don't think Sean would have gotten this opportunity necessarily. At least he would not have been the most obvious choice.
Right.
That performance plus all of the beef. I mean, we've got a freaking deli of beef between.
Oh my God! Right there, you heard that? Laura Sanko just said she's thinking about beef, and she's comparing it to like somebody with a lot of beef as a deli, ladies and gentlemen. This guy here has a lot of beef, ladies and gentlemen. It's like a deli. Oh my God. Laura Sanko's talking about that. Look at this. Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this right here. Look at this. Oh, I thought it was her lip here. That looks kind of funny. I don't know if you can see it that well, ladies and gentlemen. But right here, let's take a look at Laura Sanko. Okay? Besides the blonde hair that I was talking about and the big, dark, painted-in eyebrows, ladies and gentlemen, and the stupid Rockies hat. Like, I mean, why would you single out people? Like, maybe there's Braves fans, or some Giants fans, or, whatever. Who cares? I mean, why would you wear this? All right, that's right. It's her own show. I forgot. She's got 521,000 subscribers, ladies and gentlemen. But also right here, I'm not saying that she's on Ozempic, ladies and gentlemen. But there's an Ozempic trend going around the UFC, ladies and gentlemen. There's another one too. Hey, look, right over here, I forgot to tell you, right here in purple, the greatest UFC content creator, media person, whatever, the one that gets the job done, right? She goes out and gets all the good fighters and all the good interviews and rolls with them and everything, right? I mean, this one rolls with them too. Nobody wants to roll with Simon Feck. Hey, Laura Sanko, why don't you roll with Simon Feck, right? Huh? Okay. But anyways, they don't let You people are dumb out there. You're saying that Nina Drama goes around and gets all the great interviews because she hustles. They don't let the media near these people, ladies and gentlemen. And they keep the media all huddled together and like a herd. And you can't get near the fighters to even ask them a question, ladies and gentlemen.
Of beef between these two that we're going to talk about here in a second. All of the beef. I mean, at least he would not have been
on against Fluffy.
100%. If that performance had not been what it was, I don't think Sean would have gotten this opportunity necessarily. At least he would not have been the most obvious choice.
Yeah,
that performance plus all of the beef. I mean, we've got a freaking deli of beef between these two.
Oh my God! Between Khamzat and Sean Strickland, there's a lot of beef. That came straight from Laura Sanko, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of beef between these two here. It's like a whole deli, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my God! And Simon Feck, listen, Simon Feck is getting videos, taken down, ladies and gentlemen. And she's going around talking about all the beef, between Strickland and Khamzat, ladies and gentlemen. It's like it's so much of it. It's like a deli. That's how you describe it. There's so much beef. It's like a deli.
We're going to talk about here in a second. Before we get into the stats, guys, please click like, subscribe, hit the notifications bell, all the stuff that people.
Before we get into the stats, guys, and then she's just going to read it off of a paper. That's what gets me, too. All these people that do predictions and everything. Yeah, I know. Predictions, like that. But reading it off the paper and just seeing it like that, that's not how it goes. People aren't... Listen, when you're doing predictions, you need to know what mat the person trains on and what mat they're going to, be on. If it's the same, that's good. If the other opponent... There's about 3 different types of mats. And these stupid trainers, they don't even talk about this. Go to a gym that's going to have the same mat. You think I'm crazy, right? And then, you also don't know, do you know that the referees, it's like a lottery, who gets what fight? So you don't know what referee it is. Who is going to be the ref for the Strickland-Khamzat fight? That will have a little bit, it's a small amount, but it has a little bit to do with the fight, ladies and gentlemen. So does the mat, ladies and gentlemen. It's the same mat every week in the UFC, but some of these idiots train on different mats, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't make a bit of sense. Oh man, we're doing this. Our fight camp's this, our fight camp's this and that and everything, and they're fighting on it's not as slick. It's not as slick. And when you're training all these moves and everything, right? And then you get in there and you're slipping around. Oh, it's just because there was so many fights ahead of time, there was a little bit of blood and everything. The mat matters, ladies and gentlemen. Bigger than you think. There's other factors that people don't put in. People just look at all these numbers. She's probably going to say what reach the guy has and the height and everything like that, which has a lot to do with it. But there's a lot more to it too, ladies and gentlemen.
We'll ask you to do on YouTube to help us out so we can feed our children. Those nice things. All right, let me run through some of the...
Laura Sanko, who lives on a huge farm. Never mind.
Stats, because they get kind of interesting, and I got real nerdy on this one, Dean. I spent some time.
Please do it.
So I'll read out the regular stats, but then we're going to get into some nitty gritty. All right, so Khamzat Chimaev, 31 years old. Sean Strickland, 35. Chimaev, 15-0. No one has beaten him. Sean Strickland, just his UFC record, is 17-7. Let's see here. Chimaev, 6'2". Strickland is 6'1". 75 inches for Chimaev, 76 for Sean. So really basically the same size. Strikes landed per minute, 4 for Chimaev, 6.04 for Sean. Striking accuracy, 60 for Chimaev, 42% for Sean, but that's because Sean's...
And already Sean is down on the strike count, ladies and gentlemen, because you've seen the face-offs, right? So Sean Strickland is already behind the 8 ball, ladies and gentlemen. Sean Strickland's behind the 8 ball. He already took one leg kick to the thigh, just above the knee, ladies and gentlemen.
Striking accuracy, 60 for Chimaev, 42% for Sean, but that's because Sean's throwing a lot more, I think.
Chimaev's 1-0, ladies and gentlemen, was for strikes. He's 100% on strikes, ladies and gentlemen. In the face-off, ladies and gentlemen, of UFC 328, ladies and gentlemen. There's your stats right there.
Strikes absorbed per minute, 2.32 for Chimaev. Remember how he went like 4 fights absorbing one?
Yeah, it was like one punch. And you couldn't even remember what that one punch was?
No one knew. And then 4.57 for Sean. Striking defense for Chimaev is 43%, 60% for Sean, which is super impressive considering where...
Sean didn't block that leg kick, ladies and gentlemen, at the face-offs, ladies and gentlemen. Sean took one. Now Sean's got a big bruise on his leg, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully, they can rub it out, ladies and gentlemen.
Takedowns per 15 minutes. This is all we're going to be talking about. 5.29 for Chimaev, 0.71 for Sean. Takedown accuracy for Chimaev, 55%, which is honestly so crazy to have that accuracy and that high of an average. Because normally, like Merab's accuracy.
Dana White, stop rewarding takedowns. Yeah, they rewarded takedowns so people would actually go down, and do mixed martial arts, ladies and gentlemen. It's not how it all started out, right? But anyways, stop rewarding the takedowns. You can reward the takedown, and if nothing is done within 1 minute, then you should take that takedown, what you're scoring for that takedown, it should go void. If you're just going to take somebody down and nothing happens within 1 minute, that should be stricken from you. Okay? That takedown should be swept off the table. Rewarding takedowns, it's boring. If something happens, like I know it's difficult and everything, but basically, if no damage, if no choking of somebody, if no damage happens, within 1 minute, they should, take that point away, ladies and gentlemen.
For instance, is only like, I want to say 30%, because he's just constantly reshooting and chaining. Basically, this is saying when Chimaev wants to take you down, he's going to get you down. Most of the time.
I mean, when you look at his takedowns, he don't miss.
He doesn't. Takedown accuracy for Sean, 64%.
Okay, so he's only had 15 fights, right? I mean, that's a lot, right? All right. So he's only had 15 fights, right? And when you're accurate at takedowns, let me tell you what that means. That tells me a knee is ready for your face.
Takedown defense, 85 for Chimaev. Who tried to take him down? Oh, that's right. And he did once, didn't he? Or no, DDP did once. One.
Yeah.
And
DDP is freshly married, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody's talking about that, but Simon Feck is, ladies and gentlemen. Look, Laura Sanko and Dean Thomas aren't talking about it, but Simon Feck is, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. That's right. DDP, Dricus Du Plessis, married his sweetheart, ladies and gentlemen. On Valentine's Day, ladies and gentlemen. In South Africa, ladies and gentlemen. Not in Thailand where he was, though. There you go. Simon Feck, official announcement, ladies and gentlemen. Dricus Du Plessis is married. That's right. Dricus Du Plessis married her, ladies and gentlemen. Married her in a big fashion, ladies and gentlemen. The MMA guru went down there thinking something, because he's Mr. Detective, right? the MMA guru's a big Mr. Detective, right? And he's detecting, things about John Jones, and he's his favorite fighter is Robert Whittaker, and he says that Robert Whittaker has the biggest penis in the UFC. Do you get what I'm getting to, right? And then the MMA guru flies to Miami, and he gets off a plane, and there's this guy with him, right? And then this guy happens to go around with him, and he's like basically told to stay out of the camera, right? But when they went to Bryce Mitchell's house, who was the camera guy who got out of the truck? Who was the camera guy when MMA Guru got out of the truck? Who's that camera guy, right? Who's the camera guy that stayed in the truck when they were fishing because there wasn't room, but, in the fishing boat, except for enough room for the camera, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, so my point is the MMA Guru goes down to South Africa, right? And then Dricus du Plessis hooked the MMA Guru up, supposedly, ladies and gentlemen, with 3 beautiful African ladies, ladies and gentlemen. And then the MMA Guru asked the 3 ladies to tickle his feet, ladies and gentlemen. Dricus du Plessis got married, ladies and gentlemen.
Then takedown defense for Sean, 76%. And I have the stat on that, which I'll get to in a second.
Simon Feck just took down the MMA Guru, ladies and gentlemen.
And has been, a lot have been attempted on him. Mm-hmm. Submission average per 15 minutes, 1.8 for Chimaev and 0.2 for Sean. So that's the basic bare bones stats we're talking about. I'd like to start with Chimaev.
Okay.
There is something about him, and this is not.
Is it that he has beef and he's like a deli? I mean, what is there about him? Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this. Unbelievable.
And this is not. It's not a shop cop moment, okay? But he's got a different type of aura. It's scary.
It is.
That maniacal, almost evil smile that he gets when he starts a fight.
Except for in the press conference, he acted like a child. Now, I understand, it's his second language, all right? I understand that. And he doesn't know the English language very well. But just to sit there and chatter and chatter and chatter and don't let Sean Strickland say anything, it to me, it ruined, the press conference. It's ridiculous.
I think is absolutely terrifying. And his aura, I feel like, is one of his better weapons in most of his fights. And I don't know that it will be in this one, but it is ever present.
Well, it's very mysterious how when he gets down low and he's looking at you from the top of his eyes and he's got that smile on his face. Yeah, it's very dangerous, and there's a mystery about it that you know what's coming, but you don't want to know what's coming because it's not going to be good.
No.
And he is extremely efficient at everything that he does. That's the one thing. Like, he's really mastered his body and the strongest weapons that his body.
I'm just sitting here thinking, how come Simon Feck can't grapple with Laura Sanko, ladies and gentlemen? Huh? How come Simon Feck can't roll with Laura Sanko, right?
Can use in a fight. Yeah. So he's able to really execute almost to the T everything that he wants to do. Like, he wants a takedown, he gets a takedown. He wants to punch you, he punches you. He wants to kick you, he kicks you. And he's really good about that. But his aura as well. And I think one of the coldest moments that I can recall in a fight is when he fought Gilbert Burns, and he's sitting on top of the cage with Darren Till, and they're just sitting on there, smiling, waiting for Gilbert Burns to come out. That has to be one of my favorite moments prior to a fight ever.
Yeah. When we do the weigh-in shows, we do these rent-free moments, which is like exactly what you just described, just a moment that lives rent-free, and 100% that's going to be mine if I can get to it first, because we've never seen that before or since.
It's like who does that? Like, I didn't even, that wasn't even a thing.
I didn't know.
Well, let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. In some states, if they're talking about sitting on top of the cage, in some states you get your license taken away from you. You get banned from fighting. You get a suspension, ladies and gentlemen, for just getting on top of the cage like that. Nobody's allowed to get on top of the cage, but he's allowed to. I mean, other people would copy that too, right? Are they talking about him sitting on top of the cage? I mean, I've seen the fight. I just don't remember that part, you know?
It was an option. I didn't know that was on the menu.
I know, right? You're like, what is happening here? You're allowed to do that? Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. You're allowed to do that. And then some places you just get a fine, you know?
Obviously, the majority of what we're going to be talking about is the grappling. Whether Sean can stop it, whether Chimaev can continue to do it for 5 rounds. And I wanted to, look into some of the specific stats. So here's what I came up with. All right, Chimaev has landed 26 takedowns in 9 fights, 12 versus DDP alone in that last fight. The only one where he didn't land a takedown was versus Gerald Meerschaert, where he knocked him out in 15 seconds, whatever it was. And he has been taken down 1 time by DDP. It was kind of a hip toss, like they were in a bit of a, dog fight situation. Chimaev was in the middle of taking him down and DDP got the reversal, so good on him. But it's not like someone shot a double on him. And
Right. Yeah.
I remember that fight, right? And I remember that takedown, right? Was it really a takedown? But the other thing is, ladies and gentlemen, that fight I would like to erase from my memory. If every fight was like that, would the UFC be bigger than a barnyard, promotion, ladies and gentlemen?
This is what was crazy because we do these videos so far in advance, we don't get the advanced stats. So.
Oh my God, the lady with suspenders, the commentator, she doesn't get this. We do this video so far in advance, because she's busy, right? But she's too busy taking over everybody's job, right? Hey, Dana White, maybe some of these other media people would like to get the interviews that she gets, that she's too busy, because when she does her prediction videos with this guy, Dean Thomas, who happens to work there, and they don't get all the correct information and everything like that, maybe it's because she's too busy. Maybe we see Laura Sanko too much. How about the other media people? Yeah, you know why the other media people, you don't see them? Because they suck balls, ladies and gentlemen. And it is. The people that are there, the media people that are there, the ones, except for maybe 1 or 2, I can name them. I'm not going to name them, but I'm just telling you, there's a few like the Schmo. He has to hustle to get his interviews, right? He is worthy, right? So is Sean. I know these guys, right? They're worthy, right? But they don't even really get enough. Schmo has to chisel to get his interviews, right? And Sean gets special privilege there, and he gets his interviews, right? But you need a drama. Drama gets anybody, and for however long and whatever. If a guy's taking a shit, ladies and gentlemen, and she wants him, they call up the phone and say, cut your shit short, because come on out and, need a drama. Need a drama gets everything. This one here, second fiddle, gets all the rest. Nobody else gets it. You know why? Because the other media people suck balls. Except for a couple, and I can name them, ladies and gentlemen. But if I name them, maybe it's not good for Simon Feck then, right?
I had to be my own advanced stats. I went through and calculated his control time. And it says, here's the thing, on the stats, if you go to UFC stats, which I spend a lot of time there.
If you can't, from the other people's fights beforehand, which are available, the stats, right? I don't know what stats she's talking about. She's talking about rankings? What is she talking about? The updated stuff. Okay, so there's some updated stuff. I don't know. Does it take 3 months to update this stuff? Their last fight was 3 months or more ago, right? 2 months at the least, right? I mean, what is she talking about? I can make predictions on anything without, a week ahead, 2 weeks ahead, 3 weeks ahead, unless there's an injury or something like that. Somebody's mother died or something. Somebody got arrested. I mean,
It says he's got 62% control time. I think that's wrong because they actually still have, who's the heavyweight that just got cut that was always laying on people? Almeida.
Jonathan Almeida.
Yeah, they still had Jonathan Almeida in the list. So I'm like, this list is old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about this, ladies and gentlemen?
Stats, if you go to UFC stats, which I spend a lot of time there, it says he's got 62% control time. I think that's wrong because they actually still have, who's the heavyweight that just got cut?
Jeff Almeida.
Jonathan Almeida.
Yeah,
Simon Feck knows his stuff, ladies and
so like, this
gentlemen.
list is old.
Yeah.
Yeah. I calculated 70%. He has 48 minutes and 31 seconds of control time in 9 fights. And most of those fights didn't go very long.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy to think.
Absolutely crazy.
Well, like I said, he has mastered the use of his body in terms of how he navigates through situations.
Mm-hmm.
He floats when he needs to float. He puts pressure when he needs to pressure.
He stings like a bee when he needs to sting like a bee, ladies and gentlemen.
He does what he needs to do, and it's all based on the foundation of his grip fighting. His hand fighting his hands are always in the right.
He's got that kung fu grip, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, like everybody was kung fu fighting, ladies and gentlemen.
Place. So it's rarely ever where you catch him slipping where he doesn't have a grip around your legs when he needs that, or around your body when he needs it, or in on the hips when he needs it. And then when he gets on top of you, he's got such good control. He uses his length well, where he can control your top half with his bottom, with his top half and his bottom half. So like he does a really good job of just controlling everything using his length. And he's hard to get away from. And when you start to get space, he just gives you a little bit of space, re-grips, and you're right back into the fire. Like you think you're getting out, he just re-grips and you're right back into the fire.
You know what's wrong with what he just said? Everybody thinks that's boring. So basically, we're going to see a boring fight, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, everybody knows it, right? It's going to be a boring fight. Jeez.
It was crazy watching what he did to DDP. Although the takeaway from that fight was that he should have done more damage, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, do we really want to call that a fight? Basically, it's like, laying on top of somebody. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to make this video exciting. But when you got Khamzat in the middle of the conversation, it's not exciting. It's not their fault.
Dean was going absolutely crazy.
Well, no, you know how critical I am of that. And it's working, though. It's working. And, Laura, I'm telling you this. I'm critical because I want the game to evolve. And it has because of my critique, my personal critique. And I can prove it to you because Aljamain Sterling, no one has been more critical of Aljamain Sterling. When he lost to Evloev, I was so mad at him for not doing more damage. And now if you saw his last fight, what he did to Youssef Zalal, damage. And I said, Aljamain, that's my guy right there. Yeah. We need to do more damage. Now, I'm very critical of Khamzat Chimaev. You got to be a little bit more damaging, a little bit more threatening in these positions. Like you got so much control time, but it's time to hurt people. I think in order for him to beat Sean, he's got to hurt him at some point.
I completely agree. And I think we're going to see that, though, because I would imagine that after that last fight, there's no way it doesn't register to him that that's not what people are. Yeah, you had to do it to win the championship, but like to become truly great, to become considered truly great and maintain this maintain the belt, you have to do damage. You have to do damage.
Okay, listen, I hang out with most of the judges, right? And basically, yeah, that's what the UFC says. You know, damage, right? Damage. And if there's no damage, when you take somebody down, something needs to happen. After 1 minute, that those points, whatever the fuck you get, the reward that you get for taking somebody down should be erased if nothing happens within 1 minute. And you know what I mean by nothing happening, okay? Just laying on a guy. As a matter of fact, you should go into negative because you just brought the fight to a screeching halt and then nothing happens. After 1 minute, if nothing happens, you should be like minus the reward of a takedown. You shouldn't be like back to even. It should be minus. You got to stop rewarding the takedowns, man. Maybe you should take it where, you know, in a 3-round fight, you gotta take the other guy down 2 times or something. And in a 5-round fight, you gotta take the guy down 3 times. So that, you know, the attempts are there on both sides. I don't know.
You will, like, if he wins this fight the same way he beat DDP, like, his reputation will be severely scarred. Like,
yeah,
people,
the aura starts to go away.
Yes, the aura will go away. Like, people are going to be like, yo, I don't want to fight him, or, you know, he's so boring.
Dean Thomas is right there. If this fight happens, like, you need to cut this guy. If this fight goes the same way, where he just lays like a wet blanket on top of somebody, if, like, he's going out mattress shopping and him and, you know, is laying on top of the guy, they need to cut him. He needs to be out of the UFC. It's boring.
Like, it'll really ruin his reputation. And the first time he loses, we're going to see a very similar situation to, like, Ankalaev.
Well, Johnson Almeida got cut.
Tell me, yeah, exactly. They're cutting guys, yeah.
And because of that exact same thing, he was getting guys down and just would not do anything with. It was actually really fascinating, dude, because fighter meetings for his last performance, right? The performance, and I'm forgetting who it was, but the performance previous to that was another fight where it's like he got him down. It was Volkov, I think. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we're trying to be relatively sensitive when you ask fighters questions in fighter meetings, but we basically were like, you have to do something differently. Like, what are you going to do? And he admitted that he really had a hard time taking the risk of doing damage, even when he was in these incredibly dominant positions. Like, he could not get himself to do it. And he said he'd worked on it and did a lot of mental work and did a lot of training, you know, ground and pound on the bag and stuff. And then he went out and did the same thing.
And she's long-winded, ladies and gentlemen. Besides long in the tooth, I mean, she's long-winded here, ladies and gentlemen. She's right, though.
It was like a mental hurdle for her.
And by the way, how does she get to go talk to the fighters and have like a fighter meeting and everything? How come Simon Feck doesn't get that, ladies and gentlemen? Huh? Oh, man. Hold on a second, ladies and gentlemen. Simon Feck doesn't know what he's doing, ladies and gentlemen. Oh. We just had trouble, ladies and gentlemen.
Say they work on it. It's more than just getting on top of a heavy bag or having somebody underneath you. Like, it's really about being able to set up the good strikes and having techniques to do that without losing position, because that's the problem. And that's the problem that Khamzat's going to have with Strickland if he wants to go out and do damage. Because in order to do real damage, you need space. You can't be chest to chest. You need space. And anytime you give up space, you're running the risk of them getting out. And it's true. Like, it'll when you're down there, you're afraid to give up space. You don't want them to get out. But you have to have a better technique of doing it. And most guys just don't have it.
It's the grips. And it's attacking, like you said earlier, it's attacking, you know, 3 points at the same time and allowing yourself the right moment with just enough space to actually land significant damage. And you, sir, are the master at teaching that.
I've worked heavily on it, and I come and I think it's because I do come from an older style of jiu-jitsu. I come from the Carlson Gracie style of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, so basically what he's saying is he comes from Stonehenge, ladies and gentlemen. Dean Thomas, look at his beard, ladies and gentlemen. He's got a gray thug beard, ladies and gentlemen. He comes from Stonehenge, ladies. Matter of fact, he's older than Stonehenge. I hate these guys. I'm not saying I hate Dean. He's a good friend. But I dislike these guys that hold on to the old days, man. Stuff has moved on. You think what you know? Oh yeah, this is what we need to do. We need to go right back here, and we need to like American wrestle.
Back when like Ricardo Arona and these guys were like, they were getting on top of guys in their guard and just beating them the hell up.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, also too, I came up watching guys like, Mark Kerr just beat guys up from in the guard, so, and I've worked a lot on creating more ways to do it. And I just know that most guys don't know how to do it. So like they have a hard time, and it manifests itself as a mental block, but it's really
it's almost like, who are you hiring? Right? If these guys don't know how to do this, I mean, to me, it's pretty simple. That's like the basic stuff. Right? I mean, I don't know.
Technical, physical block because they just don't know how to do it.
Well, yeah, when you're on top and that part of your brain says it's not safe to that's because the reason it's not safe to open up and like create space to land an elbow or whatever is because you don't have enough control in the other points, and that is a technical issue.
Exactly, it's a technical issue. So, but it manifests itself in a mental issue because it's making them go, "No, I'm just going to hold them because I don't."
Yeah, I'll just wait for the next opportunity. I'll just keep waiting for the next. Yeah. On the flip side, we've got Sean Strickland, who, this fight is takedowns versus takedown defense and get-ups, and Strickland has very, very good takedown defense. The only thing that I guess worries me to some extent, he did get taken down by DDP 6 times in their first fight. Now, he only got taken down once in their last one and once by Abus Magomedov.
I mean, basically everybody knows I'm friends with DDP and I'm friends with Sean Strickland, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm telling you, Sean Strickland won that first one. I mean, of course it's my opinion, right? And I don't want to go around because I'm friends with both of them, right? But to me, Strickland won the first one. That end of story. And besides DDP, he's married, ladies and gentlemen. Simon Feck's the only one bringing that to you.
Didn't count any of his takedowns at welterweight because that was like a whole different Sean Strickland. But this is the interesting thing. So, been taken down 8 times, but they only accumulated 2 minutes and 36 seconds of control time. And that I thought was pretty promising for sure.
That's promising when you hear that stat right there, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so I go into Extreme Couture, right? I go in there and I watch Sean Strickland beat the piss out of somebody, some little whiny brat. And I had video of it. And I got rid of it because I didn't want to get in trouble, right? And then other people have posted some other stuff like that. I didn't want it to accidentally get out, yet other people have posted stuff like that. I see Sean Strickland beat the shit out of this guy. That was great. But anyways, I see Sean Strickland. I see him train more on the ground. I'm talking about like the last 5 years. He trains more on the ground. Right? He's pretty much got it all down pat, the stand-up, or his version of it, right? So he's got that down, right? So I'm just telling you, Sean Strickland on the ground, watch out, baby. Turn it off.
He can make Khamzat work hard enough. So, and that's also something that I want to suggest too, because we've come to think that like Khamzat, he used to get tired, now he doesn't get tired anymore. And I just want to revisit that and just say that this whole cardio issue is all relative to how difficult something is for you. You know, if it's difficult for, like, Khamzat didn't get really tired against DDP because it wasn't that difficult for him.
DDP did not know what to
Yeah,
do.
it was easy for him. It was like sparring for him, so he didn't get tired. But if Sean Strickland can make Khamzat work harder on the takedowns, harder to keep him down, if he can use his guard and make him work, it'll be harder for him to hold him down. And then by the time like fourth, fifth round come around, he can use his standard get-ups and fight the grips better. But I just don't see him doing that early in the fight and being able to get up the way he has against other guys. Because normally he pops right back up.
When you watch the Usman fight and how Kamaru started.
Is this back when Usman had knees, ladies and gentlemen? Is that what we're talking about, when Usman had knees? What do you got, Laura Sanka?
To have a little bit more success second and third round in terms of fending off takedowns and forcing more of a striking battle. You know, obviously a story can be said. Not only did he do that, but he did it on very short notice, up a weight class, with really compromised knees and athleticism at this point in his career. Does that give you any hope as to whether Sean can kind of weather that early storm and then be able to do that to Khamzat?
It's very possible, and thanks for asking me, Laura Sanka. It's very possible, and I'm going to say yes. Okay? Definitely, Sean Strickland can weather this storm, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here from Simon Feck, 1 foot cock. Thanks a lot, Sanka. Back to you, Dean.
Khamzat's just at another level.
No, I think that gives me a lot of hope. I mean, even with the Usman fight, Khamzat did waste a lot of energy keeping him down, and he was kind of going ham on him with some ground and pound. So it wasn't like he was just stalling on Usman the same way he did against DDP. So he wasn't really exerting a lot of energy against DDP. But against Usman, he exerted a lot more energy. I think that he thought he was going to get Usman out of there. He's thinking, okay, this guy's a welterweight. He's only known about this for a week. I'm going to get him out of here. And when he didn't get him out of there, I think it wore on him and it got him a little more tired than he had hoped to be. But it does give me hope because I still think that Khamzat just has an energy system about him that makes him a better sprinter than a long distance runner.
Yes.
And he can fake it.
Now, I don't know right there, right? So Laura Sanka is saying yes before she hears the entire thing that Dean Thomas is talking about. That he's a better sprinter than what? Does that always come next? A better sprinter than a long distance runner? Is that always next? I mean, maybe it is. I don't know. I'm Simon Feck, 1 foot cock. You know, I fly around the place. I don't run.
Like you can, like, just because you're a sprinter don't mean you can't run 2 miles at a good pace. But I think that if Strickland can force him into some more sprinting type moments, Khamzat has no choice but to fight hard and wear his energy system out.
Yeah, you go back to the Kevin Holland fight, and obviously it didn't last long, but
I like Kevin Holland. I like those people that keep their arms down, you know, like Kevin Holland and Sean O'Malley, ladies and gentlemen. And how about like Hearns, you know, back in the day, ladies and gentlemen, Hearns. To me, that's exciting. You know, Sean O'Malley, Kevin Holland, back in the day, Hearns, whatever. Exciting. Exciting. We love exciting people, exciting fights, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? And then you get some of these people, they're just like I mean, here, this right here. Dana White, you're hiring these guys. I mean, it's called, like Chael Sonnen said, it is entertainment sports, ladies and gentlemen. Dana White's hiring some of these guys. If their ability was so great, yeah, I guess you got to hire them. But if they have just great ability to be in the UFC, I mean, you have to be really good, you know, right? But if they're just great, I mean, he doesn't even get to know the people first. You're just hiring people that are just going to be a bump on the log. I mean, what do you need? Just mill people in here? I mean, where are the people? And as a matter of fact, there's actually too many fights, and there's not the build-up where you learn who the people are, ladies and gentlemen. That's why you're not getting all the big stars anymore. And everybody's not knowing everybody. Yeah, you know their name and you look at their stats and everything like that, but there's no characterization building here. They're not building anybody, ladies and gentlemen. You have to build yourself, which, okay, I understand. Maybe you should build yourself. Okay? But in the sports entertainment business, and you get a guy that's just going to lay on people, and they call it fights. It's not. They don't call it like the cops are going out to arrest somebody, and you just got to get them in handcuffs. I mean, that's basically what the Khamzat fights are. You get to a certain point, and it's over. It's like, okay, here's the handcuffing moment. Where's the fight?
Just Kevin being squirrely like he was for a short period of time.
Oh my God. Kevin Holland, Laura Sanko just said that you're squirrely. Check that out. Laura Sanko's calling Kevin Holland squirrely. Kevin Holland, I think you need to talk to your girl, Laura Sanko, that supposedly, like, you're hitting on her, but you weren't. You're just playing around or whatever like that, right? Oh, my God. Let's hear that again. This is it.
If Strickland can force him into some more sprinting type moments, Khamzat has no choice but to fight hard and wear his energy system out.
And hopefully that happens.
The Kevin Holland fight, and obviously it didn't last long, but just Kevin being squirrely like he was for a short period of time.
Kevin Holland squirrely, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it.
Yeah, you go back to the Kevin Holland fight, and obviously it didn't last long, but just Kevin being squirrely like he was for a short period of time, never settling. Just
Kevin Holland squirrely, ladies and gentlemen.
Whatever he had to do to try to create scrambles. Obviously, it didn't end well for him, but it felt like there's no way that Khamzat could have maintained that pace in a longer fight. Now, I don't know if Kevin could have either, but I've seen a lot of people saying that the Hernandez fight, is the perfect dress rehearsal, so to speak, for fighting Chimaev. And I get why on paper that might be true because you spend your whole camp, defending takedowns. But he didn't shoot.
Yeah, well.
Ever.
No, you're right. And to Sean's credit, he didn't allow him to shoot.
He didn't, but I don't know that.
But he won't do that to Khamzat.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yes, I'm saying.
right.
Like I feel like Fluffy is a little bit more against the fence. I need to get a body lock and work from there. Khamzat will shoot from freaking 12 feet away at your shins. And fight. Like, remember when he shot at Robert Whitaker, who also has great takedown defense?
Yeah.
And that right there, that's opening himself up for that knee. Somebody's going to reconstruct Khamzat's face, ladies and gentlemen, in one of these takedowns. And you might see it in New Jersey, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully Khamzat's face gets reconstruction by Sean Strickland, ladies and gentlemen. Now I said the wrong word. Let's do it over again, ladies and gentlemen.
At the Khamzat.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
yes, I'm saying.
right.
Like I feel like Fluffy is a little bit more against the fence. I need to get a body lock and work from there. Khamzat will shoot from freaking 12 feet away.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. And that leaves him open for what? A knee that will reconstruct his face. Hopefully in New Jersey here this weekend, Sean Strickland will reconstruct Khamzat's face, ladies and gentlemen, in one of these takedowns. Please, please, Lord, please help us all. We got to get rid of these these blanket fighters, ladies and gentlemen.
Defending takedowns, but
Take three, ladies and gentlemen.
Well,
ever.
No, you're right. And to Sean's credit, he didn't allow him to shoot.
That's
did,
right.
But I don't know that.
But he won't do that to Khamzat.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yes, I'm
you're
saying.
right.
Like I feel like Fluffy is a little bit more against the fence. I need to get a body lock and work from there. Khamzat will shoot from freaking 12 feet away.
Good. That's right. You got that right. And shooting from 12 feet away, that will get your face reconstructed with a knee right up the gut, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking right up the snoozer, ladies and gentlemen. Right up the nose, ladies and gentlemen. Let's try that again, ladies and gentlemen. 1, 2, 3, let's go. Come on.
Defending takedowns, but I just
Take 4, ladies
he
and
didn't
gentlemen.
shoot.
Yeah, well,
Ever.
no, you're right. And to Sean's credit, he didn't allow him to shoot.
He did, but I don't know
That's right.
But he won't do that to Khamzat.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yes, I'm
you're
saying.
right.
Like I feel like Fluffy is a little bit more against the fence. I need to get a body lock and work from there. Khamzat will shoot from freaking 12 feet away.
You got that right. And that leaves him open to get his face reconstructed, ladies and gentlemen, with a knee, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully this weekend in New Jersey, Sean Strickland reconstructs Khamzat's face, ladies and gentlemen. Right during a shoot, ladies and gentlemen. Please, Lord, please have Sean Strickland bust his face wide open, ladies and gentlemen, during one of these takedowns. Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen. Why does the UFC allow this boring type fighting, ladies and gentlemen? Chael Sonnen was right, I'm telling you. Chael Sonnen said, you better stop signing these people.
Whitaker, who also has great takedown defense, shoot from freaking 12. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yes, I'm
you're
saying.
right.
Like I feel like Fluffy is a little bit more against the fence. I need to get a body lock and work from there. Khamzat will shoot from freaking 12 feet away.
That's right, ladies and
At
gentlemen.
your shins.
That's right. Wow,
And finally,
boring.
remember when he shot at Robert Whitaker, who also has great takedown defense?
Yeah.
You know what else Robert Whitaker has, ladies and gentlemen? Robert Whitaker must have beef, ladies and gentlemen, like a deli, like Laura Sanko likes to say. Likes to, make people as being, having beef and being like a deli, ladies and gentlemen. Well, the MMA guru says that Robert Whitaker is his favorite fighter, and also happens to mention that Robert Whitaker has the biggest penis in the UFC, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not kidding. Let's go back. I mean, we're only halfway through this, ladies and gentlemen.
To Sean's credit, he didn't allow him to shoot.
He did, but I don't know that.
But he won't do that to Khamzat.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yes, I'm
you're
saying.
right.
Like I feel like Fluffy is a little bit more against the fence. I need to get a body lock and work from there. Khamzat will shoot from freaking 12 feet away at your shins. And
Yeah,
finally, remember when he shot at Robert Whitaker, who also has great takedown defense?
Yeah.
You know what else Robert Whitaker has? Robert Whitaker, according to the MMA guru, Robert Whitaker has the biggest penis in the UFC, ladies and gentlemen. And Robert Whitaker is the MMA guru's favorite fighter. That's right. And Laura Sanko's going around talking about Chimaev and Strickland having beef, like so much beef, it's like a deli, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the MMA guru's theory of the deli might be a little bit different, ladies and gentlemen. Just telling you that right now.
It's better than it's fast. Stand
Size, level change that deeply, and then penetrate that far. It is crazy.
Well, and that's what makes him unique is because he stands so tall. Like he's really tall when he strikes, and he throws kicks from the outside. He stands really tall, and then he just shoots really low and fast, and you don't see it coming, which makes it very difficult for him, and it makes it very unique and hard to stop.
I don't think anybody else does that.
It's not
Maybe
the
it's
perfect dress rehearsal, but it's better than a different matchup.
True.
It's better. It's better than like Jared Cannonier.
Or it's Adesanya fighter. Whatever.
Right. Yeah. So, but it gives us some indication that he can deal with this, but again, I think that his jab has shown, like, if he can get that jab working, especially from where he throws it from, like he throws it from low and it comes up, so that can deter a shot a little bit. I don't think it's going to deter Khamzat early, because Khamzat will shoot even under that.
Yes.
So, he's gonna get taken down. I think this fight comes down to the mentality of Sean Strickland. Is he mad enough or motivated enough to go to put Khamzat through hell That's what it comes down to. Because in order to be Khamzat, you got to put him through.
I mean, listen, ladies and gentlemen, right? We're talking about the level of the UFC here, ladies and gentlemen. And if these guys aren't out here trying to fight, I mean, truly fight every time, then, I mean, you know, what's going on here? Of course he's going to try, you know, to put him through a work.
You're not going to, like, outskill him. There's no one in the division that can outskill him. You got to put him through a little bit of hell.
I think the fact that they've trained together, and this is such a fascinating thing, because you're getting two versions of, you know, the same story and little leaks of information here and there, and it's hard to know what's real and what's not, but
I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, I've been there for many times of it, okay? I go into extreme couture, I go into extreme couture, ladies and gentlemen, and I've seen it. I mean, it was just regular stuff. There was nothing different, nothing, you know, set like, you know, like a big memory. It's just regular stuff. Nothing happened, basically.
it is interesting that they spent so much time training together, and not just training together, but Sean, to some degree, was taking Khamzat under his wing a bit at that time, and, like, you know, come to Extreme Couture and, you know, running the practices. And according to Sean, you know, because obviously he admitted, like, yeah, he tapped me out, but it was in drills where we were working from bad situations, so, like, he had my back. You know, at first, like, I'm not gonna go, you know, crazy and not tap in those situations. I've heard, though, that, you know, in general, Khamzat was getting the better of the grappling, but that Sean essentially made him quit in terms of just striking and overall output.
Okay, right there, that sounds like if you weren't there and you know a little bit about the UFC and a little bit about the fighters and everything, that anybody can make that story up right there. Anybody can make that story up right there. What she has heard. Me, Simon Feck, I was there, ladies and gentlemen. There was nothing out of the ordinary that I seen. Nothing out of the ordinary. It was just normal, everyday things that happen, you know, in a gym. That's it.
I believe that. I believe that. No,
But I tend to believe it.
yeah, I believe that. I believe
I mean,
that.
anybody
But
can
again,
make
like,
that
when there's
story
no
up.
stakes on the line.
Okay, if it's true or not, but anybody, that's a stuff that, if you need, listen, you take that scenario right there, and you ask somebody to come up with some kind of storyline for Strickland and Khamzat, what happened basically in their gym and the training and the sparring and everything. 95% of the people that you would ask to come up with some kind of storyline, that's exactly what the storyline would be. Now, is it true or not? I didn't see any of that stuff.
It's easy for Khamzat to be like, nah, man, I'm done. You know, I've had enough for today. I'm done. Okay, you got the better of me right now. The same way it was easy for Sean to tap in drills because there's nothing on the line.
Yeah.
And you're just in practice, and you know you're dealing with a guy like Sean Strickland, who's probably, he's just so, you know, adamant about the way he practices, and like at some point you're just like, all right, dude, I've had enough.
Yeah.
You got it. All right, I've had enough. I'm going home. So I believe Khamzat probably had a little bit of that going on as well, but I'm intrigued by how it's going to look on Saturday.
I am too. You know, especially Khamzat. I'm still somewhat confused about how his camp is structured, but
I'm going to tell you how it's going to look on Saturday. It's going to look boring, ladies and gentlemen. That's Simon Feck's prediction right there. How is the fight going to go? It's going to go boring. UFC 328 Khamzat versus Sean Strickland, ladies and gentlemen. Simon Feck's prediction, boring. You know why it's boring? Because you got Khamzat involved in the fight, ladies and gentlemen. Crotch sniffer.
I know he's been in the States, out in California. I know he's been training a lot at the Jackson facility. I know he's been training a lot with Khalil Roundtree. I think there's a lot of Chechens over there with him. He's got like a team around him. I think they've been there for quite a while. So I'm fascinated. And from what I've heard, it's been like insanely intense, like just training like an absolute animal. So, oh God, hopefully it doesn't get in.
Okay, so I see Sean Strickland all the time in Extreme Couture, right? So he's doing the other guys are at home, right? I mean, he could be overtraining. There's such a thing, right? So Sean Strickland is there going through grappling, going through sparring with people, right? And then he goes home and takes a shower from the class he teaches, and then he goes home and takes a shower and comes back for the pro. Okay? Sean Strickland puts in grueling. Maybe she's going to bring this up, but she's saying that Khamzat is. I don't know anybody that trains more than Strickland. I'm sure there is, but I'm just telling you.
Oh, could you imagine?
I shouldn't even say that.
Absolute don't feel. Take it back. Be an
Take it
absolute
back.
nightmare
Take
if you
it
get
back.
injured.
Take it back.
Oh, that'd be a nightmare.
That's not gonna happen. Okay. What do you think? I'll give you two answers.
Okay.
What do you think this fight looks like one way? What do you think this fight looks like another way?
I think this fight goes one of two ways, but I think it starts the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I think it starts, and I can see it in my head. Like I already envision myself sitting cage side, seeing this and hearing the crowd, where Khamzat runs across, takes Sean down. The crowd goes wild because Sean's on his back, and I see the first 2 rounds looking like that, like Sean getting taken down, struggling to get back up. But as it plays on, by the 3rd round, Sean gets back to his feet, right? Like, that's when it starts to turn. Sean gets back to his feet, and the crowd goes, yeah. And then Khamzat starts struggling on takedowns, and then Sean starts coming back. And then, so one of two ways, I see it being really close. Like, really close. Like, Khamzat winning the first 2 rounds, Sean winning the 3rd and the 4th, and then the 5th round coming down to, like, back and forth, and then he gets a takedown, and then he gets a reversal, and then it just comes down and looking like that.
Yeah.
I see it. I really do see it looking like that.
That's what all the Strickland fans are saying. Exactly that. Either he just came up with it all by himself, or he's listening to everybody. Everybody's got the same story, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I'm telling you. When Simon Feck does predictions, I'm talking about what mat. There's like 3 different mats that people can train on. What mat does this person train on? If you're training on the wrong mat, you're already at a small disadvantage. Oh, it's like a big disadvantage. Yeah. Listen, if one mat is a little bit slippier than the other, and you got all this traction when you're going through all your grappling and your training and everything, and then you get out there, and it's a little bit slippier. It's a little bit more slippy. It's a little slippier. It's slippy. It's a little slippy.
That's one way, and then Khamzat wins. Because he just found his way at the end of the 5th to be on top.
And to do some damage.
Yeah, and doing a little bit of damage. Or I see it looking like this. It's still starting the same way, but in the 3rd round, Sean takes over. 4th and 5th round, Sean is completely in control, and Khamzat is just like in survival mode on the outside, taking bad shots, kind of skirting around, staying safe, not getting hit, but taking bad shots. And then Sean wins a decision that way. Wins the last 3 rounds.
That's in a perfect world, ladies and gentlemen. But that too, that's what everybody else is saying. The Strickland fans are saying. Okay? That's what the Strickland fans are saying. Now, I said it backwards on the one before, and I'm not going to go back and change it, ladies and gentlemen. But this is the scenario that's probably going to happen. Because if the other one happens, it's just a snooze fest, ladies and gentlemen. It's another boring fight from the Chechens, ladies and gentlemen. Dana White has to stop this.
Yeah, I agree with you. I Yeah, I don't know where I sit in terms of how I actually think it's going to happen, but those are, I think probably the first is probably where I'm landing.
The first, yeah, like the.
Yeah, right there. So Laura Sanka is sitting there saying that Sean Strickland is not going to win the fight, ladies and gentlemen. And so is Dean Thomas, right? That's what he's saying, right? Okay. So Sean Strickland right there is not going to win the fight. That's what they're saying. That's their decision. Hoo-ha, whatever.
The potential of the first is higher than the second.
But the second is very much in play. Very much in play. I love that. I think because Sean has trained with him so much, this doesn't mean that Sean's gonna like, oh, I'm gonna know how to defeat his double leg right off the bat. I do though think it takes some of that aura away. Like I think a lot of fighters, even though they say, oh yeah, he's just a man, whatever.
Take some of the aura away. It's gonna take some of my life away that I'm gonna want to take back. This fight is gonna be so boring. Okay, this fighter, Khamzat, is a boring fighter. That fighting style is boring. The UFC wasn't born on, boring fights, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't survive on boring fights, ladies and gentlemen. We get some more of these, these blanket fighters, ladies and gentlemen. I'm out. I'm gonna fly the coop, ladies and gentlemen. I can't stand this stuff.
He's been the boogeyman of this division, right? He's been the boogeyman of whatever division he's fighting in. I don't think he is to Sean. I really don't.
No, yeah, you're right. Of course not.
Although you just said that Khamzat's winning. He's not the boogeyman to him. He's just going to beat you. That's what you're just saying.
And Sean wanted this fight. Like he wanted this fight. So like, of course not. But still, you still have to question which Sean is going to show up on Saturday night because. Yeah. That guy's a bit unpredictable. And if the Sean that wanted him a couple of months ago shows up on Saturday night, option 2 might be very well the way this fight looks. Like Sean takes over and is like, yo, I told you I was better than you. Mm-hmm. Or if for some reason Sean's just like, it's whatever, I don't care, I'm a piece of crap anyway. I'm not supposed to win anyway. Like that Sean could show up on Saturday night and he just goes out there and this is my issue with some of these guys like that who've been around a while. And Chris Curtis, his good buddy, did this when he fought Murderbeck Earlby. You get taken down and you're on the ground looking at the ref like,
yeah.
You gonna stand us up? You gonna stand like, dude, you knew this was going to happen. And I can see that happening in this fight too, where it's like Sean's getting taken down, looking up at Herb Dean going, then you gonna stand us up? Like, no.
You listen to that, Sean Strickland? You listen to that? That's what Dean Thomas was saying about you. He's saying that you're going to be laying on your back and wanting help from Dean, or from the ref, ladies and gentlemen, Herb Dean. There's too many Deans around here, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, you knew this was going to happen.
This is MMA.
Yeah, this was the highest probability of what could happen in a fight, and you weren't ready for it. Yeah. You can't rely on the ref to stand you up.
Do you think that, listen, we all know that this presser is going to be crazy. The whole week's going to be crazy. Do you think that the things that will be said, which...
I'll tell you what, though, Khamzat doing that kick at the presser, man, come on, man. Something has to be done about that. Well, who cares? Whatever. I don't care. Do you care?
I'm sure will be not good. Will affect either of them in any significant way mentally? Like, is Khamzat an emotional enough guy to get pissed off when Sean starts talking about politics and calling him a Chechen whore?
Well, yeah. I bet you any amount of money that Khamzat's gonna try to do a sucker kick on Sean Strickland.
Like all the stuff he says.
Yeah, I don't think so though. I don't think so. I think that I don't think the stuff that Sean says is going to bother him. I think that Khamzat is such a really good competitor that he's going to be able to separate those things and just go out and do his job the way he's supposed to. I think he's probably has bigger issues in life than what Sean Strickland thinks about him or says about him. So I don't think that's going to bother him.
All right. Well, as usual, I'm going to force you to make a prediction.
Thank God, ladies and gentlemen.
as I was watching the DDP fight against Khamzat, I said, man, Sean Strickland really might win. And I do believe that there's a chance he's going to win. I would give him a 40% chance of winning. But that still leaves 60% with Khamzat winning.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's all said and done, I think Khamzat, even though Sean Strickland has what it takes to be the better fighter, Khamzat's going to be the better competitor on Saturday night.
You hear that, Sean Strickland? Your buddy Dean over here. Your buddy Dean over here says that you're not going to win, basically. He's giving you 40%, but that's basically saying you're not going to win. I mean, it's trying to be nice, right? You couldn't be 50-50, right? Right? He's got to give you 40%. He should have gave you 49%, right? And it still would have been the same thing. He's basically saying that Khamzat's going to win. I mean, right?
Because when he realizes that Sean Strickland can win a fight against him, he's going to compete.
Yeah.
And Sean Strickland won't be able to compete when Khamzat wants to compete and get a takedown. When he really needs a takedown, Khamzat's going to get that takedown.
Yeah.
So I am going to predict Khamzat wins by decision. And at the end of it,
I'm going to predict that Nina Drama's going to be right, cage side. And like in like where all the famous people are sitting and everything like that. And then I'm going to predict that there's going to be other media people there, like 20 media people. And then the other 80 media people are going to be way up in the nosebleeds, wiping their nose with a handkerchief and everything because they're, the nosebleeds. But Nina Drama will be down there hanging out with, I don't know. Who cares?
Sean Strickland will be complaining that all he wanted to do was wrestle.
Yeah. But we knew that.
Simon Feck's going to say that. All they're going to do is wrestle, and you knew that, and everybody knows this is going to be a boring fight, and basically what's going to happen, and then hopefully Sean Strickland pulls it out, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, but he knew that. We knew that. He knew that. It was your job to be prepared for that.
Yeah. Yeah, his level of athleticism is just insane in that regard. And I, like you, am certainly giving Sean a much better shot than the odds makers seem to be.
What are the odds makers giving him?
See, now you're putting me on the spot. I want to say, last time I looked, Chimaev was like minus 400.
Look at those eyebrows, ladies and gentlemen. Look at those things, ladies and gentlemen. I can't get past the eyebrows, man. I can't get past those eyebrows, ladies and gentlemen. Laura Sanko is hot, though, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm not giving him that much.
I know. And Sean was like plus 3 something. Don't quote me on that, ladies and gentlemen. Look him up for yourself. All right.
She's stealing Simon Feck's lines right there, ladies and gentlemen. She's going around saying, ladies and gentlemen. You know why Laura Sanko is going around saying, ladies and gentlemen? Because she's deep into Simon Feck's YouTube channel, ladies and gentlemen. Laura Sanko is deep into Simon Feck's YouTube channel. She can't stop saying, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. She's going around. And Simon Feck, are in Laura Sanko's head, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't just mean like in her head. I mean like, in her head. In a whole different fashion than you're thinking of right now, ladies and gentlemen.
Better shot than the odds makers seem to be.
What are the odds makers giving him?
See, now you're putting me on the spot. I want to say, last time I looked, Chimaev was like minus 400.
Wow. No,
Yeah.
I'm not giving him that much.
I know. And Sean was like plus 3 something. Don't quote me on that, ladies and gentlemen. Look him up for yourself.
Ladies and gentlemen, Simon Feck here, ladies and gentlemen. And you got right there, you got Laura Sanko right here, ladies and gentlemen. Laura Sanko right here quoting Simon Feck, 1 foot cock. You just heard her say, ladies and gentlemen. It came out of that big mouth right there, ladies and gentlemen. It was beautiful when it came out. And she just blurted it out. and said, ladies and gentlemen, right there. You heard it. Simon Feck is in her head, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. And her with those big, beautiful, painted-on eyebrows right there, ladies and gentlemen. The nice, blonde, flowing hair right here, ladies and gentlemen. This is a well-put-together lady right here, ladies and gentlemen. But she does dress a little bit like a man with the suspenders, ladies and gentlemen. She's wearing a Rockies baseball hat. She's into sports. She's a cool chick, ladies and gentlemen. I've met her many times. She's really cool. But right here, this mouth right here utters the words, ladies and gentlemen, Simon Feck, you know. I'm just telling you right now. Laura Sanko is a Simon Feck fan, ladies and gentlemen. That's right.
All right. We have some questions to get to from our fans. So I've got
I don't know.
them here, so we won't spend too much time on each of them.
Yeah, you don't want to spend too much time on them. But let me tell you something. I haven't listened to these, so I don't know how much I'm going to hang in there.
But Brian J. Shaw, 85, how much extra security is going to be needed to keep these guys apart come fight week? A lot, Brian. A lot. A lot.
Yeah, I would anticipate them having extra security, just extra things in play, keeping people away from each other.
Okay, maybe they do this video way ahead of time, because we've known about the security for like a week now. I mean, when do they do this? They do this weeks in advance? I mean...
But at the same time, you got to allow some of it because that's part of the allure of what's going to make people watch. But just, but more security, even having more security is kind of part of the fun of it.
Yeah, exactly. They should get the National Guard, get some dogs.
Yeah, some dogs. Some
yeah.
People with,
just call SEAL Team 6, see if they're busy. Like, hey, guys.
Right there, ladies and gentlemen, just like Chael Sonnen said, it's sports entertainment, ladies and gentlemen. And they just said it right there. Oh, yeah, it's going to make it bigger and better and everything, but to have the security there of the false narrative that everybody is going to fight each other. You know, like all these fighters are going to fight each other, ladies and gentlemen. Let's back this up. That was a terrible one.
Is kind of part of the fun of it.
Yeah, exactly. They should get the National Guard.
Make people watch extra things.
Week. A lot, Brian. A lot. A lot.
Yeah, I would anticipate them having extra security, just extra things in play, keeping people away from each other. But at the same time, you got to allow some of it because that's part of the allure of what's going to make people watch. But just, but more security, even having more security is kind of part of the fun of it.
Yeah, exactly. They should get the National Guard.
Right there, ladies and gentlemen, like Chael Sonnen said, sports entertainment, ladies and gentlemen. They're playing it up, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to get the extra security just to make it look better, like it's a big thing. Like, ladies and gentlemen, these guys are friends, ladies and gentlemen. Simon Feck knows this. I'm going to break the story right now. These guys are friends. It's a bunch of bullshit, ladies and gentlemen.
Some dogs.
Yeah, some dogs. Some
yeah.
People with,
just call SEAL Team 6, see if they're busy. Like, hey, guys.
That's always a lot of fun, but I do think there'll be some extra security, and rightfully so, because, when you're dealing with people in our industry, unpredictable.
Yeah, they are.
And they don't. A lot of us don't have much to lose.
They're prize fighters.
Yeah.
Andy H863 says, if Sean can stop the takedown, how much will Sean's cardio play a role in a potential win?
Well, again, it's all. I can't stress it enough that the way we use the term cardio is not as black and white as the way we use it. It's not just like this thing that you have or you don't have. It is all. It's relative to how hard you're working and how comfortable you are. And if it's easy for him to stop the takedowns, he lasts. If it's difficult for him to stop the takedowns, he's going to be tired. So at the end of the day, it's not a matter of him having cardio or not. It's a matter of him being able to stop.
How about limiting the takedowns, Dana? How about limiting them? How about, like, for 3 rounds, 5 takedowns? That's it. And if nothing happens within a minute, stand them up. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, right here, this is the prediction. Ladies and gentlemen, Simon Feck is going to do his prediction right here, ladies and gentlemen, after doing this reaction video to Din Thomas and the Laura Sanko video, ladies and gentlemen, and their prediction. Laura Sanko and Din Thomas predicted that Khamzat's going to win, ladies and gentlemen. And Simon Feck is going to go with that same thing. Not, ladies and gentlemen. Simon Feck's got Sean Strickland all day long, ladies and gentlemen. Simon Feck has an inside, ladies and gentlemen. Simon Feck's telling you right now that Sean Strickland is going to win this, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, Sean Strickland wins UFC 328, ladies and gentlemen, in New Jersey, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it from Simon Feck, 1 foot cock, ladies and gentlemen.